How do you achieve big goals? I mean life-changing, mind-blowing, epic goals. The kind of things you talk about for the rest of your life. The kind of thing you're known for. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, I'm Croix Sather. I ran 3,000 miles across America, a marathon a day for 100 consecutive days, learning the mental strategies for an unstoppable mind. Unstoppable focus, unstoppable discipline, unstoppable success. And I ran across America so you don't have to learn the unstoppable mindset strategies that we're going to talk about today, achieving your most epic goals. You might be wondering where I am. I live in Medellin, Colombia, South America, and this is my view. And in the mornings before the sun comes over, I like to bring my desk out onto the balcony and do work for a few hours before coming back into the office. There's a big difference between regular goals and epic goals, life-changing goals. Regular goals are the goals that you set for work in your office atmosphere, maybe something that happens over a week or a few weeks. Epic goals are life-changing. These are things that take your life in a different trajectory, totally changes the direction of your life. Those are the goals that you want. Those are the goals you need if you're gonna live an extraordinary life. If you want to live an ordinary life, set ordinary goals. If you want to live an epic life, set epic goals. And most people don't set big goals because they're told not to. Big goals are considered unrealistic or silly or stupid or crazy. I've been told all these things. But those are the goals that changes your life. People who are changing the world or create businesses that change the world or do things that are absolutely extraordinary that others are in awe of, those are epic goals. Those are not regular goals. So maybe your epic goal is something like lose 50 pounds or lose 100 pounds. Maybe that would be an epic goal for you at this moment of your life. Maybe an epic goal would be to start a side business so that you could quit your regular business. Maybe an epic goal would be to travel around America for 100 days, or maybe live in another country or live nomadically around the world, traveling the world. Those are epic goals. I was just reading an article about a young person in their 20s who, instead of going to college, decided to travel the world, and that eventually turned into a business, and now she's making enough money to live very comfortably and continues to travel the world. There is no set way to live, especially not anymore. The idea of going to school, getting college education, getting a corporate job, and living the rest of your life, those days are gone for a lot of people. It's still a very valuable, admirable way to live if that's what you choose to live. But if you're watching this video, I don't think you're that kind of person, or you dream of not being that kind of person. So that's what epic goals are about. My run across America was not a regular goal. Running a marathon a day for 100 days, not a normal goal. People don't do that. People train for months, sometimes years, to run one marathon. And I was training less than a year to run a marathon a day for 100 consecutive days. That's a huge goal, especially considering a year earlier I wasn't a runner. And then a year after that, I go and break the world record running 146 miles through the hottest place on the planet, Death Valley. Epic goals. Epic goals is what people do with their companies that change the world. The most obvious one right now is Apple Computers. You know, Steve Jobs, he didn't create a regular company. He created a company that changed everything. It changed the computer industry, and it's still changing the world every single day. And it's not just him, but he's just a simple example that everybody knows. But what about you? What is your epic goal? What would change your life? And this doesn't have to be the one thing you do for the rest of your life and you're known for. This is what's now, what's next, what are you gonna do? My run across America was several years ago, and now I'm doing other things. There's always new stuff on the horizon. You've gotta always be pushing towards a new goal, because that's what creates meaning in your life. Having an ordinary, regular, everyday job, everyday goals, for most people, that's a life of misery. When they get to the end of their life, they're like, yeah, what did I really do? But epic goals, those are things you look back on like, shit, that was cool. You know, I'll always talk about Run Across America because I'm one of the very, very, very few people who have done it. I'm definitely one of the very extraordinarily few people who have broke the world record running through Death Valley. In fact, there's only 4 of us who have completed that challenge. And so that's something I can talk about for the rest of my life, something I can remember for the rest of my life that is going to make me feel like I've done something special. And now I'm working on different things. But what would you do if you could do anything? That's the question that changed my life. What would you do if you could do anything and you knew you would not fail? what would that be for you? That's a life-changing question. That's the question I asked myself for months and months and months and months, until I had heard about a guy, Stu Middleman, who ran across America. I watched a video on him, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I have ever heard. Running 3,000 miles across America, I'm like, oh my God, that's so wild. I've got to do it. But I wasn't a runner. I had no idea how to do it. And so that started the journey. That seed was planted instantaneously, and I knew that was the thing I wanted to do, because I was asking myself that question: what would I do if I knew I would succeed? That was the question that I kept asking myself over and over and over until I got the answer. And that's what started the process of making this all happen. And it wasn't just a run across America. I also gave an inspirational speech to different audiences to inspire them to rise above their circumstances, to live out their dreams, to go for their biggest goals. So every day was a talk, and every day was a marathon run. And then I'd start all over again for 100 days. So ask yourself that question. Write it down in your journal. Meditate on it. While you're running or you're exercising, you're at the gym, think about that. What would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? What is the biggest, most amazing thing you do? That's going to be your epic goal. That's your life-changing goal. So how do you accomplish something like that once you have that answer? Because that's the first step. The first step is to get the answer. You need to know what you're going to do. Many people don't even know what they're going to do. So that's the first step. If you don't know what you're going to do, the first thing you got to do is figure out what that is. And then the next one is to achieve that goal. And how do you achieve such a big goal? Well, here's the problem, is that life gets in the way. All the small things, all the little things that aren't all that important, many of them aren't important at all. We just do them because we get stuck in this routine of doing a lot of nothingness. You know, it happens in life. Just all these little things creep into our life and take up our time and our energy and our focus and our power to go achieve these big things. So the first thing you have to do is eliminate everything in your life that isn't critically important. When I ran across America and I was running a marathon a day and I was giving a keynote speech, my day was so packed. There was all those things that didn't matter fell off to the wayside. And even some important things fell off to the wayside. And those important things that fell off the wayside, if they were really, really, really important, they found their way back into my life and I had to manage them. But most of the stuff fell off and it didn't matter. You know, it didn't matter about being on social media. It didn't matter doing a lot of these little things that we do these days. None of that mattered. And so I stopped doing them, not because I wanted to, but because it was the only way to achieve my goal. My training that took hours and hours and hours every day. The run, when I got to the run, that was taking hours a day, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, plus a couple, 2 or 3 hours doing a keynote speech. So my days were 12, 13, 14 hours long, sometimes longer, and I'd start over. And so I had no extra time to do these other things that didn't really matter. And so the first step in achieving epic goals is to stop all the bullshit that keeps you from doing something extraordinary. And so what do you do with that extra time? Now it's got to be focused into that big goal. And so you eliminate all this other stuff, take that extra time and focus it. But that's not so easy, because it's easy to, jump on text messaging, jump on social media, jump on Twitter or Instagram, TikTok, or whatever the thing is that you like to do. Go do some quote unquote research on YouTube or something like that. All these things can creep back into your life. So you have to learn how to have the mental discipline to focus on that one thing. Now for me, going out and running and exercising, that was actually is aligned with my physiology and my psychology, so that was almost in a way relatively easy. I used to be a carpenter, so I'm used to being focused and working physically all day, so to transfer that to running, it wasn't all that hard of a thing. The work was hard. Holy cow, that was hard. Yeah, of course. But the mindset of doing the physical work was hard. So for me, the harder thing is to sit at a desk now and write a book, or to sit at a desk now and plan my business, to do some marketing, to do some outreach, to do whatever it is that I need to do. For me to sit at a desk focused and not be distracted by chimes and dings and notifications and all this other stuff, to read the news, to go down to YouTube and watch a video, all these things are very hard for me to focus. So I've had to learn how to focus on the one thing that's important now, which is bringing you these videos. This is my epic goal right now, is to create a video a day for 100 days. So far, I haven't been able to do it, but I've been doing a video every other day. On average, I'm getting one video every other day out. And now that I'm learning this process, then I'm getting closer and closer to that goal. And so my focus is exclusively on how do I get a video written or thought out anyway. How do I get it prepared? And then how do I record it? How do I edit it? How do I publish it? How do I get it out there? Like, how do I go through all those steps? And those steps are actually really, really intensely long and detailed, which I'm learning, which I'm very surprised at actually. And so how do you do that? So now that I'm in this learning curve of the first few weeks, I'm learning the processes, what I need to do, what I can hire out, what I have to do myself, what makes most sense for me to do, what makes more sense for other people to do. And so this is the process, but part of that is me retraining my mind to not check the dings and notifications and all the other stuff that can distract us easily, not to let life's little emergencies get into my way, to be in, when I'm in the office, to be in the office, mentally, emotionally focused, doing the work. That's a training muscle. You got to train your mind to do that. And the easier way to do that is if you have a goal so big, it's like, wow, that inspires you. That makes it easy to say, you know what, all this other stuff, I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need to do any of that stuff. I need to do that one thing. This is where you hear stories about people who are like coding through the middle of the night and they're not sleeping and drinking Red Bull or whatever else, drinking some energy drink, and they're working nonstop to create these things. So you hear about that. You hear the guy who's starting the business and he's sleeping in his office. Les Brown tells a story about when he was starting his motivational speaking business. He had rented this small office, but he didn't have money to pay for an apartment and an office, so he only rented the office and he slept in the office. And through the problems and drama of that, because you're not supposed to sleep in your office, he did whatever it took to succeed and get what needed to be done. So that meant for him, for that moment, sleep in the office. For others, Elon Musk talks about how he used to sleep in the office because he would only take cat naps while he was building Tesla. These are the dedication. This is what you have to do to succeed. And that's what it takes. And you may not need to go to extremes like that and only sleep a few hours in your office creating something, but you need to be highly intentionally focused. You got to have the mental discipline to achieve these big goals and say no to everything else. And that might be the hardest part. Your family calling you up for obligations and wanting you to do things. Sometimes you got to say no to those things. Your friends wanting you to go out, come on, let's go out and party tonight, let's go get a drink. Maybe you have to say no to some of those things. Where I live here in Colombia, I have a group of expat Americans that we all hang out with, and there's almost always somebody like every night saying, hey Corey, come on, let's go out. I'm going out to dinner, you want to go out with me? And so I've had to learn to say no to some of these things. I still go out, but I had to learn how to say no to some of them when I needed to be focused. And that's not easy. That's how you achieve epic goals, by saying no to the distractions, saying no to the fun things in the moment that aren't going to get you closer to your goal. Saying no to the things that you want to do so that right now in the moment, so you could have the things you want in the future. That's delayed gratification. We don't know delayed gratification anymore. Saying no to the fun momentary stuff, or saying no to the distraction in the moment so that you can achieve the life, the goals, all the things that you want to achieve. That's the hard part. People who are highly successful have learned how to stay focused on what they want and to when to say no and yes to other obligations that they have, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether it's just life's errands that happens in life. It's very, very difficult. And so, you got to go to the dentist, you got to go to the doctor, you got to go to do your taxes, you got to do all these other things. These are distractions that filter into our life that takes up way more time than they need to. You have to do them, yeah, of course, but don't go make a doctor's appointment at 10 o'clock in the morning if you can avoid it. Literally last night, I was at the dentist at 6 o'clock. They had a 6 p.m. appointment. I'm like, absolutely, I'll take it. I'll get all my work done, and then I'll go see you for the doctor's appointment. That is perfect. Not in the middle of the day, not at 10, not at 1, not at 2. Do that. I work out first thing in the morning so it's done and it's finished. I don't have to think about that. And then I go throughout my work day. And to stay highly focused when I'm working, which is not easy in our super highly, incredibly distracted world that we live in. So let me restate that. How do you achieve these big, epic, life-changing goals? The first thing is you've got to have that goal. You got to know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, then that's the first thing you've got to do. So what would you do if you knew you would succeed? Failure was impossible. What would you do? Step one, knowing your goal. Step two is start taking action towards your goal, taking massive action. And step three is blocking out all of the other things that are getting in your way of that goal so that you can achieve them. And step four is just the consistency, is the persistence, the courage of consistency. As my friend Don tells me, my mentor and friend Don, he's like, the consistency of courage, the courage of consistency is, can you be consistent enough to achieve the kind of success you want? I ran a marathon a day for 100 days. That's consistent. Right now, I'm in the process of creating a video a day for 100 days. I figured if I could run a marathon a day, I could figure out how to create a video a day for 100 days. That's the courage of consistency. Thank you for that, Don. And so those are the 4 steps, is not getting stuck in the minutia, having this big goal, and blocking everything else out so you can work for that, so you can achieve that one life-changing, life-transformation goal. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm new to this YouTube thing, so even though I've spoken to audiences with thousands of people and live audiences, the new YouTube thing is new to me. So help me out, like and comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I'll respond to you. And let me know what your big goal is. What is your big goal? What is your big challenge to achieving that goal? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already grabbed it, get my 7 success habits videos below. The links in the video below is 7 success habits. You can go to croixsather.com. It's a totally free audio series where I walk you through the mental steps, 7 days to success.